guys have probably seen so much of the press and the stories that have come out today about the closing of Toys R Us, and really what we're going to talk about today about Babies R Us. The announcement did become official that Toys R Us is going to be closing all of its stores and operations in the U.S., which is about, at this point, 735 stores. That includes all Toys R Us and Babies R Us. And so I know a lot of people have registries there, or maybe have coupons there, or gift cards there, and everybody feels really freaked out, kind of not knowing what to do. So what I want to talk about today is three things. One, kind of how we got here, just really quickly, so because I think there's some questions out there. Two, what to do if you're a person who has coupons and gift cards and what's coming in the next few weeks. And then three, what to do if you're registered at Babies R Us. I think that's the one that's probably got people totally understandably a bit the most freaked out. So we've been talking to a lot of our friends in the industry. We were just emailing with some manufacturers who make product that's actually exclusive for Babies R Us, and trying to understand from them what their game plan is. So we want to share all this info with you. If you guys have questions, feel free to ask them below, or shoot us a message, and we want to try to help as many people through this as possible. So first, really quickly, just like, how did we get here? Like, how are we to the point that I've heard people say it's the end of an era, and it does a bit feel like an end of an era that Toys R Us is closing. So you guys probably saw that in September they filed a Chapter 11, and we're really trying to push holiday sales. They were actually going to back off on some baby products to try to liquidate and to kind of get rid of some debt and save themselves. And unfortunately, they had really poor holiday sales, and they just couldn't get out from under the debt that they created. And so they've already closed all of their UK operations. And then the next thing that's really going to happen is that all of the Toys R Us and Babies R Us stores in the US will be closing. Just about an hour and a half ago, for the first time, Toys R Us put out a statement and a press release confirming everything. It honestly didn't have much more information. The only new piece of information was actually that for our Canadian friends, are actually going to try to keep some of the Canadian operations going. There apparently looks to be a buyer that might keep some stores operating under the Toys R Us name in Canada, which we are really hopeful for, partly because we really love so many friends in toy manufacturing and baby gear manufacturing, and are hoping they have a place to keep some market share. So that's really the landscape of what it is. That was just a few hours ago. About an hour and a half ago, they made that official statement. So one other big piece of news, and then we'll talk about what to do with all the stuff that you guys have. One other big piece of news that did come out of that press release was that Toys R Us is saying that they are potentially going to keep Babies R Us registry and web stores open for the time being, meaning that your registry will still be live and that there will be an online store to purchase those gifts from. They're hoping that they can actually sell that asset together, but that was really big news, and I hope comforting news for people that are in the midst of having baby showers and receiving gifts, and still have active registries at Babies R Us. So that's a little bit of good news in that they are potentially going to keep the registry and web stores open, so that you might be able to keep your BRU registry, your Babies R Us registry, if you wanted to. In terms of Toys R Us and Babies R Us, if you have gift cards, so let's move on and talk about that for a second. Oh, sorry, I'm getting all kinds of notifications up here. I want to move those. If you have a Toys R Us or Babies R Us gift card, you must use them within 30 days of yesterday. So last night was their official filing. So within 30 days, you must use your Toys R Us and your Babies R Us gift cards. Guys, I wouldn't wait till day 29. With how we've seen this going with the transition with them, I would use those sooner rather than later. They actually have a big sale going on right now. It was supposed to be the Great Trade-In event. I don't know if they're going to continue with those trade-ins, but there are 15% off and 25% off coupons that are out there right now. So if I was you, if you're holding a gift card, I would use those right away. especially if you received a gift card. So if you're a person who had a Babies R Us registry and you received the cash back, so that was one of the big perks why so many people actually registered at Babies R Us, was because you got cashback deals through gift cards. If you were holding one of those especially, I would cash that in. I would go and spend that soon. I would spend that in the next 2 weeks. I really would get that off of your hands while it still has value to it. So let's just talk about, like, you do have a gift card and what are you going to go buy? From the Toys R Us side, you know, that's really not totally my world, but talking really specifically to Babies R Us and baby gear, I would stock up on things, but I would not stock up on things that have a lot of moving parts. The one piece of this that we still don't know is when exactly Babies R Us will do a full liquidation. When Babies R Us does the liquidation, so they start that process, they will no longer accept returns. The liquidation process could start very quickly. We don't know that, but I would not purchase anything from today forward from Babies R Us or really even Toys R Us and expect that you'll be able to return it. So I would go to Babies R Us. If my local store was closing and I still had a little one, I would stock up on feeding items. I would buy bottles. I would buy swaddle blankets. I would buy diapers. I would buy wipes. I would buy changing pads. I would buy things like that. Anything that doesn't have a lot of moving parts where you might need to utilize a return or a store warranty. You know, I was doing another interview this morning actually, and someone asked me about purchasing strollers or car seats that often have a strong manufacturer warranty. My concern is that you get home and you open that stroller out of the box and there's a wheel missing, there's a ding in the fabric, there's a scratch in the handlebar, whatever that is. I'm concerned about people getting home and then not being able to utilize that item, and you will not be able to return them. So my suggestion is to stock up on items that have no moving parts, and certainly no electronics. I wouldn't buy a pump. I wouldn't buy a sound machine. I wouldn't buy a monitor. Look for things that don't have moving parts and that you know you'll just get home, you can take out of the package, and you would not think about returning. When they will start those sales, I don't know, but I would anticipate they are really trying to liquidate very quickly. I would assume a lot of those sales will start soon. They did notify this morning all 33,000 Babies R Us employees of the store closings this morning with that official statement that they made today. Which is a total bummer, right? 33,000 people are going to lose their jobs. And it really is a big ripple effect because, as I said, I was speaking to a manufacturer who just sells products exclusively for Babies R Us, and they're trying really hard right now to get products into other stores. And so many people are, you know, we're relying on Toys R Us and Babies R Us. So it's kind of a ripple effect that we're closely keeping an eye on. Okay, so now let's talk about the big thing that I think has expecting parents and new parents really worried, and that's registry. So I just want to repeat one time that Toys R Us is saying that they are going to try to keep their Babies R Us registry open, as well as some sort of web store, some sort of online store was in their statement, hoping is that someone will buy that asset to continue that. But if you have a registry at Babies R Us, my opinion of what to do is it depends on where you are in the process. If you have registered, like you went and you took all that time, maybe you went in the store or you did it online, and you did all of your registry, but you haven't yet sent that link out, don't do it. Don't send the link. Don't think, oh, maybe this is going to work out. Don't send the link out if you have created a Babies R Us registry, but you haven't yet shared it. I would take that registry and I would go and I would create a new registry somewhere else. A majority of the products at Babies R Us, you're going to be able to find. If you decide to do Amazon, if you decide to do Buy Buy Baby, if you decide to do Target, if you decide to do a mixture of those, you're going to be able to find that product. There are going to be some products that, as I mentioned, are exclusive to Babies R Us. There might be some fabrics, there might be some models, there might be some colorways that are exclusive. But generally, you're going to be able to fill up your registry again with somebody else. I would consider someone that has a brick and mortar as well as an online store, and then you could put those together on a universal registry. I just would really not a gamble with maybe Babies R Us might be able to keep their registry open. If you're at that point in the process, I think it's time to jump ship. I think it's time to look for the registry perks somewhere else and move your registry elsewhere. I know that's a lot of work. I know you were probably like sweating and using that registry gun and you hate the thought of doing that again, but I really would consider recreating your registry. Okay, though, if you have already sent out your registry because maybe your baby shower is coming and people have started to buy you gifts, that's a really hard one. The thing that I would say to people to do with that is to right now look at what's been purchased off your Babies R Us registry, take everything that hasn't been purchased and move it onto a new registry. That's where you really utilize Target, Amazon, buybuy BABY if you're looking for another bigger box retailer. I would take everything that has not been purchased and I would move it onto a new registry. I would keep that Babies R Us registry link live as long as they're keeping it live. So if they're able to keep it up, I would keep it up. The thing that stinks is you're not going to be able to do returns. So whatever hasn't been purchased, and you move it over, I would take those items off. I would take them off and move to a new link. If you have friends that you can share, they know what's going on. Hey, you guys know I was registered at Babies R Us, but now we've moved to buybuy BABY. Maybe you can share the new link with some people. But I would get another registry going. Part of the reason is what you can't expect to be able to get from your Babies R Us registry are those perks. You can't expect completion coupons. You're not going to get gift returns, and you can't expect that you're going to get those cashback deals. Those I would not anticipate are going to be coming to anyone. Again, that was not in the statement from Toys R Us, but I would not expect that those are coming. So I would absolutely create another registry, go look at the perks from somewhere else, and move all those things that haven't been purchased over to a new registry, and then just keep that link with the things that have been purchased on there. If you have, now the sort of third phase, where you might be in the process, if you've created a registry and you're past your shower, meaning you just hadn't finished the completion coupon yet, or you hadn't done all your returns, I would do that now. If you have that 10% completion coupon in your hand, if you have those cashback deals, if you have a pile of products sitting in the corner that you haven't returned, I would do that now. I would go get all of that stuff and I would just utilize those things that you have in your hand, and I would buy as much of that stuff using those completion coupons. I know I said earlier not to buy stuff with a bunch of moving parts, but if you need to utilize those cashback deals and you need to utilize the completion coupon, that's when you could get some of those items. Otherwise, if you can look for other retailers that carry those where you know you'll be able to do a return, look toward that. buybuy BABY did make a couple statements, and this is what we're really going to be watching, is other retailers to come in and try to do something about the Babies R Us registry and stores going away. buybuy BABY is saying right now, the only real thing that they've said is that they will be accepting Babies R Us coupons and they will keep their price match promise. Now, whether that price match promise means they'll match clearance deals when stores start closing, that seems to be up in the air. They also did say that buybuy BABY is saying, come on in and we will recreate any registry. That doesn't seem like the greatest thing, that they'll recreate your registry, but if you want to take a printout and go into your local buybuy BABY, you take your printout from Babies R Us and go into your local buybuy BABY, maybe they'll just sit and do it for you, and maybe they'll make it a little bit easier. This happened one other time, and it was on a much, much smaller scale. And last year, we saw the closing of Giggle. Giggle was a little bit of a different demographic, and they had less stores. But when Giggle closed last year, what we saw happen is what we're anticipating to happen in this coming week, is we saw smaller retailers trying to gobble those registries up. So they were actually saying up to $100, up to $500. There was even one store that was up to $1,000. They would honor those Giggle gift cards like they were cashed to their store if you would just move your registry over. We have not seen anyone make that statement yet about Babies R Us registries, probably just because there's so many thousands of Babies R Us registries out there. But I think that's something to look for. Is there going to be someone that's going to do some sort of guarantee? Is there going to be someone that's going to honor Babies R Us gift cards? I don't know yet. I was surprised My Baby hasn't made more of a statement, but just with Toys R Us making their official statement today, I guess that could be why. Regardless, I feel really terrible for all the employees of Toys R Us and Babies R Us. I mean, 33,000 people are going to be laid off in this. I feel really terrible for the manufacturers and the sales and marketing and all the people that are affected by it. From our side, the people that we're really trying to directly help the most are those people that have created those registries. So if you have questions about, like, this is where I am in the process, we might know a little more information, feel free to shoot us an email. Let me know where you are in the process. You can send it directly to info@BabyNav, babyplanners.com. Reach out to us. We'll see what we can share about where we are in the process. If we learn any more information about statements that get made about the Babies R Us registry, we will certainly share with you guys as we know real information. There's a lot of assumptions going on, and we don't want to share any of those. So as we get real info, we promise that we will share it. And if we can help anybody, we certainly don't want anybody, an expecting parent, like, you have so much to worry about already. I know this can feel like a big blow, but we'll get through this and we'll help create a new registry. Stores are going to be helping people, other retailers, so we're going to be watching for that. So more to come. We will share more info. We will share it here on Facebook. We'll put this video on our YouTube page, and definitely over at Instagram we'll be sharing as we get more info. But again, in the meantime, feel free to email us, info@BabyNav, babyplanners.com, if we can help you, or if you have specific questions about where you are in the registry process with Babies R Us.